We're back for another 2-5 no limit session at the Win. I don't want to waste anyone's time with the intro, so we're going to go right into the hands. Good luck to me. Here it is. Suited connectors are always very sneaky. This was the first hand I played in my session today. I have 4-5 of clubs. It got raised to 25. I called. 2 other players called. And then the big blind decides to squeeze to 135 when a lot of people already called the 25. The player in front of me calls. Now it's on me. And because the player in front of me decided to stay in, I also decided to make the call. If I hit the flop, I'm going to win a massive pot. And if I don't, I could just fold my cards. The small blind also calls, and we're going to a flop 4 ways with over $400 in the pot already. The flop comes out, queen 4-5, rainbow, 1 club. We got bottom 2, and the player that squeezed pre-flop decides to bet very small, 130 on the flop. I want to raise him, but put a price in that he can continue here. I make it 280 to go. Crazy enough, the small blind now bets over me and makes it 450. The other player folds and now it's back on me. I could just flat call here with about 400 behind if I did that, but I didn't think my opponent would fold if I went over the top and just put all my chips in the middle, so that's what I decided to do. I go all in, my opponent makes the call. Now we're headed to a run out. The turn card comes the deuce of clubs, which is great because we now pick up a flush draw. The river is the 9 of diamonds. I table my hand, 2 pair. My opponent says you're good, and we win a $2,400 pot. Literally the first hand I sat down to play tonight. I love to be aggressive with my draws. We have 3-5 of diamonds. It gets raised in front of me to 15. 1 player in front of me calls. I make the call. Everybody else folds. We're now going to a flop 3 ways, and we have position. The flop comes king 4 deuce with 2 clubs. We flop an open-ended straight draw. The original better pre-flop checks. The other player checks, and now I got to bet, but I got to decide how much. I decided to bet $35. The original raiser pre-flop makes the call and the other player folds. Now when the player checks on the flop after betting pre-flop and then he continues with my bet, he's either got a massive hand or his hand is pretty weak. The turn card comes the 4 of spades. Now there's 2 flush draws on the board. My opponent checks into me and I want to up my sizing here because I think he's pretty weak. That 4 definitely didn't help him and I could potentially get him to fold this hand right here. I bet 125. My opponent thinks for a little bit. He makes the call. We're now going to a river with a decent amount of money in the middle. The river is my gin card. It's an offsuit 6 of diamonds. We get the straight. My opponent checks, and now I want to make a bet in case he missed where I bet small and he could potentially raise me on the river if he missed with a draw. So I bet $60 thinking that my opponent might raise me here, and if he missed and he has ace high, I'm also betting for value. He thinks for a little bit and doesn't do the raise like I hoped he would. He just flat calls. I table my straight and we pick up a nice pot. Sometimes you just have to go with it. We have king queen of diamonds in late position. There's a limper in front of me. I up my sizing on my pre-flop raise up to 30. The big blind calls and the limper also calls. We're going to a flop 3 ways and it's a good one. King jack 5 with 2 clubs. We flop top pair with second kicker. My opponents check over to me, and now we have to decide on the sizing here. Interestingly enough, the player first to act bets out for 45 on this flop, and he's only got about $300 behind. I'm thinking he potentially has a draw, or he could have a really big hand here. I decide to just call the 45, thinking that if the turn card bricks, he's probably going to put all his chips in the middle with either a bluff or he might have a monster. The turn card comes out, and it's the 6 of diamonds. He bets for $75 on the turn, only has about $200 left. I don't think I could go anywhere in this hand given the fact that he doesn't have much money and we have a strong hand. The draws have not gotten there yet, so I decide to just put the other player all in. He snap calls my all in. The river card comes the 3 of clubs and my opponent flips over king jack. He flopped 2 pair and just bet out, and he beats my king queen. That's just a tough run out there. Pocket aces could be such an overrated hand sometimes. I'm under the gun. I make it 20. The player behind me calls. The small blind calls and the big blind folds. We're going to a flop 3 ways. Flop comes out king 10-5 with 2 hearts. First player checks, and I decide to up my sizing a little bit on this flop. I bet $40, trying to weed out the bad hands and make people continue with something serious because I have a sneaky overpair to this board. Player behind me folds, small blind makes the call. We're now headed to a turn, and it's a good one. The turn comes out the 5 of spades. We turn 2 pair. Now we're beating king 10. There's a lot of draws on the board, and my opponent checks over to me, and I want to bet for value to make my opponent continue since I'm super strong right now. I bet $105 on the turn. My opponent decides to check raise me. He bets $320 into my 105. I can't go anywhere at this point. We have 2 pair, very strong. I make the call after thinking for a little bit. I just wanted to take some time to think of what the hands he possibly could have here. The river comes out, the 3 of clubs, and I'm thinking my hand is good here, but my opponent bets for $575 on the river. It does seem like value considering there's about $900 in the pot. He's betting about 60% of it. I go into the tank and think about what he could have for a few minutes here. He could have pocket 10s, which beats me. He could have king 10, which I'm beating. He doesn't have ace king because I'm blocking that. I honestly didn't think there was any chance he could have a 5. Eventually, after thinking it over and being in the tank for 2-3 minutes, as I was getting a massage at the table, I told her to stop because I needed to think. I make the call for $575 and my opponent tables queen 5 offsuit. He called pre-flop $20 with queen 5. Then he called on the flop with a backdoor straight draw and bottom pair. I guess he was thinking if he turns a 5, he's going to get paid massively. And that's what happened. We take a rough beat with pocket aces. That was a crazy session. The first hand we sit down, we got a full double up plus more on the 2 pair. The last hand was pretty rough. Pocket aces, king 10 5. The turn was a dream for me and my opponent. I've turned 2 pair. He had queen 5. He called a raise of 20 pre-flop. He called a bet on the flop with bottom pair and a backdoor straight draw. I guess some players play this way because when the 5 hits on the turn, he makes a massive pot. So he was betting $60-$70 to win $800-$900. I paid him off on the river. It did look like value on the river when he bet $575. Over time, I just don't think I can make that fold too much. I thought he could have had king 10. All the draws missed. He definitely didn't have a draw, but he could have had pocket 10s, which beat me, king 10 or a 5, and he ended up having the 5, but it is what it is. We won $62 on the session, another winning session in the books. Poker's poker. Sometimes you're going to make the right decisions. Sometimes you're going to make the wrong ones, as long as you learn. Next time, a super aggressive player could have a 5 there. I didn't think he could, but now I know for next time. If you liked the video, please sub to the channel. A lot of vlogs are going to be pumping out over the next few weeks, next couple months. I'm going to be playing some tournaments coming up. My poker journey is just getting started. Thank you guys for watching.